What happened while we were away, brought to you by Messing with Texas. A bar in Dallas, Texas recently overtly advertised a pride event they were hosting where children were welcome, featuring drag queens, and it went down this weekend. The event was dubbed Drag the Kids to Pride. For those of you listening, what we're watching is felony child exploitation, a dude provocatively dancing with barely any clothes on while a child tips him. In the background, you can see a neon sign on the wall that reads, "It's not gonna lick itself." Outside the bar, a group of men showed up to confront the parents of the children and shame them.
I only have one question. Why do you want to put an axe wound in between your son's legs? You people are the symptom of a dying society, and you know it.
You're scaring children. Shut the
We're
up.
children.
Shut the
Not you.
up. Shut the up.
You are child abusers. And you're not a real woman.
Shame on you. 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 Shame on you.
Your children should be home. Your kids aren't actually gay. You've just groomed them. You're a groomer.
BlazeTV contributor Alex Stein confronted one of the dudes dressed as a lady.
For little children? Do you like dancing for little children? You don't think that's disgusting? Dancing around for little children?
Away from me.
Don't you think that's disgusting?
I need you to
You don't think that's,
get the away.
Hey, well, you can't just touch me. You don't think that's
You touch me. Your mom's a bitch. Go
You
on.
don't think that's disgusting? Dancing for little children. You should be you should be ashamed of yourself dancing for little children. You should be ashamed of yourself.
Him. Is he a child? No.
You guys dancing little children. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You're disgusting. Think about what you just did.
The whore.
Okay, that's fine, but you danced naked in front of little children. You did.
Do I look at you, bitch?
Look at you.
Stop.
You dance in front of little children.
Also in Texas, the Uvalde mom who was detained, released, and then went into Robb Elementary school to successfully rescue her two children from that school shooting spoke out about what really went down.
I said, well, you're going to have to arrest me because I'm going in there, and I'm telling you right now, I don't see none of y'all in there. Y'all are standing with snipers, and y'all are far away. If y'all don't go in there, I'm going in there. He immediately put me in cuffs.
She says after Uvalde police officers told marshals to uncuff Gomez, she ran towards the school.
As soon as they uncuffed me, I jumped that first gate fence. And once I jumped it, I went to my son's class. And I knocked on the door, and I remember the teacher saying, I'm like, hey, they're already boach cutting the fence to get me. She's like, you think we have time to get out? I said, y'all have time. I'm going to run for my other son.
Once she was assured her son was okay, Gomez ran to get her other child, encountering more officers who tried to stop her.
So I start yelling, and I'm being a cooperative, and I'm like, well, y'all aren't doing what are y'all doing? Y'all ain't doing Y'all need to be in here. Give me your vest. Somebody give me a vest, something. I started paying attention to how far the shots were being, so that I knew the shooter was all the way still by my first son's class. So when I went to my second son's door, the teacher didn't want to open the door for me. So that's when they started escorting me out. And as I see that they're opening my son's door, I go run for my son, and I get him.
With both of her kids out safe, Gomez still can't shake the thought of those who didn't make it.
While you were inside the school, did you see officers
There was
inside
not one
the school?
officer inside the school when I ran to my second son's class. There was not one officer.
And you were hearing gunshots, so you knew
You
that
could hear the
it was
gunshots.
an active shooter.
It was still active. The gunshots were still active. They were not in there. There was no one in there. If anything, when I pulled up, my car was closer to the school than where the snipers and everybody that was laying on the ground were.
In addition, that woman says law enforcement threatened her after the fact by saying she'd be charged with obstruction of justice if she spoke to the media, like we just heard. Moving on, in Washington, the House continues to debate over gun-grabbing measures. Congresswoman Lauren Boebert absolutely crushed it with this speech.
Madam Speaker, I want to begin this evening by thanking my Democrat colleagues for their outstanding work in encouraging millions of Americans to celebrate their Second Amendment rights by purchasing their first, second, or even 100th firearm. I have some questions for these freedom haters. When are you going to call on the chief executive, the basement dweller, to hold his own son accountable for his gun crimes? Hunter Biden lied on a federal firearms application which is punishable by up to 10 years and a $250,000 fine, of which 10% will not be going to the big guy. Rules for thee, but not for my crackhead, Parmesan-smoking, gun criminal son.
In the Senate, which reconvenes today, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, along with Senators John Cornyn and Lindsey Graham, have expressed some willingness to listen and or vote on Democrats' calls for taking access to buying guns away. Speaking of rhinos, Donald Trump has been doing a fair bit of endorsing those types, including this weekend when he endorsed House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, saying he's, quote, a strong and fearless leader of the House Republican Conference. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, meanwhile, beat Trump again in a straw poll, this time at the Western Conservative Summit in Colorado a few days ago. Speaking of DeSantis, in recent days, his government threatened the Special Olympics with over $20 million in fines for having a jab requirement at their event in Orlando, a violation of Florida law. The Special Olympics promptly abided. Also, DeSantis announced he's vetoing tens of millions of dollars in funding for the Tampa Bay Rays' new baseball complex, after the team voiced its support of gun-grabbing measures. Twitter is in settlement talks with independent journalist Alex Berenson to end a lawsuit he brought against the company after he was deplatformed for spreading what the company deemed as misinformation about COVID. Berenson was deplatformed for saying in a tweet that COVID jabs don't stop infection or transmission of the virus, which has since been confirmed universally. Gas prices have now officially doubled nationwide since Joe Biden took office. The nationwide average price of gas now sits at a whopping $4.86 a gallon. And that's what happened while we were away.